cursed by the old gods of Bethany. We are four souls destined to review the 1001
movies,
albums,
songs,
and TV shows you must consume before you die. Until then, we are the Immortals.
And this is episode 168.
Woo!
We made it.
Yay.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
everybody.
We did. Hey, we're a full group again.
Here. It's been a little while.
It has.
The truth.
JC, you were missing last week.
And I was missing the week before, right?
No, Sarah
I once
was.
was lost,
Sarah was
but
missing
now
the
I'm
week
found.
I'm Austin, by the way.
I'm Sarah.
I'm JC.
And I'm Pedro.
And together we're the Immortals. Every week we review one of the 1001 movies, albums, songs, and TV shows one must consume before they die. This week we're doing the 538th entries in all those published lists, which are real. I feel I should reiterate that every once in a while. We're not just
Yeah, they're
we,
books.
We
They're
make
books
up
you can
other
buy.
things on this show. Like the whole gods thing, that's not real. There actually is published books called 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die.
There are published books.
And we wrote them down. And then we put them in order.
You say we a
One
lot.
is by my
you
bed.
wrote them down.
I wrote them down. And then sent you guys a shared document.
This
Yes.
is true. I would
wrote
like everyone to
down.
know that the 538th Pokemon is the very uncreatively named Throh, Throh.
Did you all see the new?
Fighting Pokemon.
You all see the new Pokemon that came out today?
There's one today? I haven't seen it.
They released a couple, and last week, whatever the fuck.
Okay,
And there's
it's very
definitely,
important because I saw the ones from last week.
yeah, the one looks like a bong,
I like the one that's
100% it's a bong.
I like the one that's an electric corgi that is great.
Have you all seen the very cursed thing that goes around that's it puts two Pokemon together
No.
No.
and then they look very cursed? Oh my god.
You should send this to the WhatsApp immediately.
What? Not
Don't worry, I'm
immediately.
gonna find it.
Oh yeah, that Pokemon's just a bong.
I told you.
And there's all these Mr. Mime combinations
Oh, that's bad.
that are just too good.
Oh, I see.
Combine
It's
two Pokemon.
It's not
I
actually
can't
a
believe.
new Pokemon. It's a Galarian. It is a this generation only version of a weird first gen Pokemon.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
So Jesse and James in the
So they're
anime had.
smokestacks.
I mean, it's a bong.
It's a bong. The 538th Criterion Spine is the brilliant Stanley Kubrick film Paths of Glory.
Cool, which I have not seen. I've seen a lot of Kubrick, but not that one.
It's good. Let's Take 5. We did an episode about it. Also, the 538th entries in all of our lists are the following things.
We watched. Okay, is it Aguirre? Does that sound right?
I think so.
I always say
English?
Aguirre.
That's how I always hear it in English, yeah.
Aguirre.
Aguirre? That's not how they say it in the show. I'm sorry, the
Aguirre.
film.
Well, they roll their R's, obviously.
Aguirre.
Yeah,
Conquistadors.
Aguirre.
Aguirre, the Wrath of God.
The album is Purple Rain by Prince.
The song is Let My Love Open the Door by Pete
Let
Townsend.
my love.
Oh, dumb.
Spoilers.
It's catchy.
And the TV show is Jonathan Creek. But first, anyone watch anything good or anything?
No.
No.
No, fuck that.
I've been playing a lot of Zelda, that's about it.
I've been playing, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I watched Trinkets on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Is that the one about people who steal shit?
Yes, about shoplifters.
I turned off that pilot halfway through.
The pilot's not good, but it has, once you get into it, it has a good vibe like Sex Education does.
Okay.
It's not as good as Sex Education, but it's sort of the same flavor.
I will say very quickly that we watched two different sketch comedy shows headed up by African American comics, both of which were really weird. The first one, the less weird of the two, is the Black Women's Comedy Hour. That's what it's called, right?
No, it's a Black Lady sketch show.
The Black Lady Sketch Show. That's what it is, which is on HBO, which is very, very good. The other one is on IFC, which is the channel that makes documentary now, and is what it's called
Sherman Showcase.
Sherman Showcase, and it's it's like a meta, it's like a fake Ed Sullivan show, except black. And then John Legend is hosting a retrospective about said non-existent show that then has clips from other eras of music that are funny. It makes no sense, and you should all see it.
Yeah, it's the hardest elevator pitch, but within a few minutes it has some of the funniest and just really weird. And also John Legend gleefully making fun of himself.
Yeah, it's a delight.
John Legend is very funny.
He had a really great deadpan thing where, like, because the whole thing is mostly this retrospective look at a fake show. And then they had, like, behind the scenes of them doing the talking head bits with John Legend. And he has the thing of, like, people always ask me if my name is a stage name, because it is. My name is Stevie Legend. Because I changed it to John.
It's so great.
My friends, they can call me Stevie. Those who don't know, Sydney. And he goes, work colleagues can call me John, and my enemies can call me Lord Egot.
It's seriously
That's
like,
fun.
it's real great and real weird.
So bizarre.
And much like documentary now, I can only conclude that it has only been made because IFC is some sort of pyramid scheme that allows these insane shows that no one will watch to be made. Just for
Literally.
Austin and my amusement.
Remember when John Legend got an EGOT? Like, he was not somebody that people were like, God, I hope they really get an EGOT. And then he
What
got
did he
an
win the Oscar
EGOT.
for?
It was amazing.
A ton of songs. I think he's
he
won it
did
at least
Selma.
once. He won it for Selma.
The song for Selma.
He's been nominated a bunch of times too.
That's a bunch of Oscar, like a bunch for, he's won a billion Grammys. He produced a Tony Award winning play, and the Emmy was for Jesus Christ Superstar.
Right.
Got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good work, John.
Sydney.
I
I teased last week that I was going to like give my opinions on a bunch of TV shows we've already covered that I've kind of caught up on, but I'm going to wait till next week because we started recording late.
Yep.
So
love it when Austin makes good decisions.
yeah, I definitely watched
Time
all the
tyrant.
shows,
Which
but
is a bad decision.
I'll give you my thoughts on the series finale of Jane the Virgin, new season of Real World, final season of Orange is the New Black, finale of Gotham, season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, the finale of Arrested Development.
This just seems like it's its own podcast.
Hell yeah.
The people who listen to the show are literally panting in anticipation
boy.
right now.
What did I think of the series finale of Gotham?
Oh my god.
They're literally, I can't even speak to the sweat that was suddenly exposed
What you
across
guys
the
don't
nation.
understand is I live with Austin, which means I have to hear about this
I know.
anyway, and then I have to hear about it again on the air.
Sarah, I pray for you every night.
Thank you, JC.
I say, sweet little baby Jesus, please cast your gaze on Chicago.
This makes a lot of sense to me.
Not for any of the like crime or anything. Just really like
Crime is down.
Crime is down. You heard it here first.
Sorry,
No.
I'm mad at people. Not that there is not crime in Chicago. I'm mad at people distorting crime statistics in Chicago today.
People really love to do that. I think
Yeah.
distorting crime should be the new crime.
Whoa,
Put that in the
hot
pipe.
take.
Ooh.
Just like Orange is the New Black. Season 7 went on Netflix, and it's the final season.
Okay, let's move on.
Why? It's a show we covered a long time ago.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's get into the stuff proper. Let's Peter, everything you wanna. You just playing Zelda.
That's it.
Yeah,
I've not seen a goddamn thing.
Makes sense.
it's a little bit. I guess yeah.
Maybe I have. I just don't remember, and I don't care.
Whoa.
Wow.
We'll take,
Fuck that, and fuck that.
Yeah.
we'll take Pedro.
Oh wait, quick questions across the board. Pedro, have you seen Bringing Up Baby?
That's enough.
JC, have you seen Planet of the Apes?
No, you damn dirty ape.
Sarah, have you seen All About My Mother?
No.
Sarah, have you seen The American Friend?
Sort of. I mean, I sort of saw it the first time. I just gotta watch it so that I actually pay attention to it.
So I'm writing the
We're gonna
words.
just have to have an episode where we all talk about the things we all missed.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, yeah.
All right,
That sounds very sexy.
cool.
Cool.
Next week, all y'all watch that.
Whoa,
Nope.
dude, no way.
No rush.
Shit. Fine. That would be a crazy thing to do. Now it's time for the movie segment.
We watched Aguirre, The Wrath of God. So, we watched this movie. It came out in the 70s.
77.
It's Werner Herzog, which means that it is a dark depth of despair and man's anger against God and other man. I told Austin I was practicing my Herzog. this movie is Werner Herzog, 70s.
Who's fucking
My
insane?
Chrome's not working, so I can't glance at the Wikipedia article. I have to pull this out of my memory.
1972.
I believe it's his
Right.
third feature film.
Oh,
First
cool.
international hit.
Also,
Yeah.
can I say before we jump into the
Mhm.
summary for our viewers, I saw some pictures of young Herzog.
Yeah.
Young Herzog can get it.
Oh yeah, he's kind of a beefcake.
No questions asked. Like, hello.
Yeah, he's
I didn't
attractive.
realize. I just
Oh,
assumed
yeah.
he'd always looked like he did. He does now, like Tommy Lee Jones, but that's not true
That's
at all.
another thing that actually makes any sense.
I mean, if you find
Oh
Herzog
man, yeah, look at this guy.
in the late
Got that
70s,
mustache.
early 80s, you're going to find him sweating in a jungle.
yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sweating in the jungle of my apartment right now.
Ow.
That's
Yes. Okay. So he's very good looking. Not that he appears on screen. So this is about a bunch of conquistadors. So again, I want to clarify that this is a German movie about Spanish conquistadors.
That is in German.
Actually,
That is in German.
it is dubbed in German, spoken in English.
No, is that why the mouths don't match up?
Yes.
Oh, that makes it so much weirder.
I figured I'd say that now. I've got a lot of facts about this movie that I'd
Okay.
like
Wait,
to sprinkle
what?
in as we go. The movie, so there were like people from like 16 different countries on production, and the only language they all spoke, like in common, was English. So the movie was shot in English, and it was going to be released in English for wider distribution, like for
and it
more
was
popularity.
dubbed in German?
And then, like, all of the money that was set aside after filming for post sync on the sound, I didn't quite understand, but it sounds like the guy just made off with the money and never did it. So then later he dubbed a higher quality German audio over it. Klaus
So
Klaus
weird.
Kinski wanted too much money for the dubbing, so they had a different person dub his voice.
I got a
Shut
bunch of stuff
up.
here about
Is this just going to be let's read the Wikipedia article and the chapter in Herzog by Ebert about Aguirre the Wrath of God?
Yes.
I have some really good quotes from Herzog about
Well, here,
Kinski.
let's save the two-sentence summary that we'll jump into.
Yeah.
10,000
Let me
tangents.
summarize for the viewers this thing we watched. So German movie, Spanish conquistadors. They are on a big river. So this is
The Amazon River.
The Andes River. Thank you.
Amazon River.
No, it's the Amazon, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Amazon. I'm stupid. So this was filmed in the Peruvian rainforest. They are looking for El Dorado, the lost city of gold.
Yeah.
They're a band of Spanish conquistadors riding around with Pizarro. For some reason they separate. I can't remember now, and I don't think it really matters.
they're like, shit, guys, we're out of food. All right, you 40, take a raft down the river. We're going to wait here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you're not back in a week, you're presumed dead.
As a
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons game master, I would like to be clear that what they do is split the party. Don't split,
split
the
the
party.
party.
Yes. Don't split the party. The monsters are geared to your whole party's level. When you split the party, you reduce your power, but the monsters don't change level.
If only Pizarro
Sounds
had
so
played
cool.
more D&D.
I'm so cool.
So there's a group of people who are led by a guy named Ursua, who's like their commanding officer.
His full name is Pedro de Ursua.
Oh boy.
Come on.
Pedro, would you like to give the summary?
No, I'm sorry. Well, maybe.
I'm
but-
happy to give this to you.
No, you can take it.
We are going down the river ourselves.
Apparently.
Literally.
Madness.
It's had a weird day. I'm already down the river, guys.
I know. I'm here for you. Okay, so we're in the river. Ursua is leading us. We are just some poor conquistadors who decided it was a good idea for us to go colonize some indigenous people. What a fucking terrible idea.
Yeah, and they get their comeuppance now, don't they?
They do. I do think it's interesting when white people from countries that colonize other countries want to make movies criticizing colonization, but maybe that's a conversation for later.
No, that's a thing. That's a weird thing about this movie. Yeah.
So, this band of brothers on the Amazon River, led by a dude named Ursua who brings his wife Flores, and his second in command is Aguirre, who is this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, German waif man. There's a lot of purple, who has brought his daughter with him. Why are these women here? I don't know. This seems like a fucking stupid
Against
idea.
Pizarro's better judgment.
I mean, yeah, like at the beginning, Pizarro's literally like, I don't know why they're here. I told them to leave, but they're still here.
And so they may as well keep going with you guys, because why
Right.
would they stay here with us?
Right.
Wait,
All I want to do is dun, 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 and get their money. That's what I assume is happening.
That makes sense.
This is going to be a weird podcast, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we started an hour
So-
late and we're
We have this motley crew of conquistadors. It's mostly conquistadors, and they've also been enslaving the indigenous people as they kind of go along. And they've also brought an African person with them. And so it's this group of people plus these two women. They are rafting. They're not very good at it. Some of their people die. And basically Aguirre starts doing these sort of little machinations to gain power within the group. He eventually mutinies against Ursua. They get stuck on the river. This whole movie is filmed on this 10 square foot patch of fucking riverbank in the Amazon rainforest. And he overthrows Ursua, he gets shot, and then he installs this nobleman who's come along with them as their emperor. And it really just evolves from there as you just sort of watch them eat each other alive, sort of like a really interesting Lord of the Flies type deal. And there's some more things that I should have mentioned. It's all in my brain. It's just having trouble coming out of my mouth right now.
So before we delve into the never-ending production stuff that I see the two of you just chomping at the bit for,
Oh, yeah.
They're so ready.
can we take a second for our viewers to explain why this movie is good? Because Austin has been yelling at me to see this movie and all these production details for 4 years, and I've been like, that sounds like an interestingly made movie. I watched it and I actually enjoyed seeing the movie and thought it was good.
I do too.
Which honestly kind of surprises me, but I think we should start there before we get into trivia.
As this is my section, this is a type of ownership I've never exerted before. I agree with Sarah. I am the Aguirre to Sarah's Ursua.
Yep.
Or I don't know.
I think she
That
wants
doesn't
to
work.
execute
But
you?
we are running this shit.
Cool.
So let's talk about the movie.
So I think what is sometimes forgotten about Werner Herzog, because he himself is such a nexus of entertainment. This is the guy who got shot mid-interview and kept going because it was an insignificant bullet.
Again, he could get it.
Yeah. And I think
Instantly.
I think because all these insane things that he does and says, we kind of forget he is one of the greatest filmmakers alive.
Oh, yeah.
That he's made these number of films, even the ones I don't love as much, are so captivating. And this movie is really getting into what he does best, which is, this is not a very long movie. It's about 100 minutes long. And it just feels like you're on this epic journey because he just lets the camera go and you just uncover the weirdness itself. And the movie begins with this amazing sequence of them going down the mountain. And it's just so odd because pretty of everyone's in this time period close of nowhere near our time. You're watching conquistadors walking this way. Then you get to see cages of chickens. Then you get to see them royalty come down. None of which should be in the Amazon rainforest. And yet here they all are. And the whole movie just has this look of something is wrong. And that just kind of adds to the paranoia and madness. He doesn't make boring movies.
That is true.
Even when they are maybe a bit obvious or not as good as other ones, he's interested in truly odd things and always thematically and cinematically make into a really interesting cohesive whole. And this is one of my favorites of his.
You described it as an epic, and I know it's supposed to be an epic. It doesn't feel like
Doesn't
it
feel
because
like an
it is
epic.
so awkward and just they're trying to make an epic journey, but they're bad at it.
Oh, they fail.
They're
very
so
bad
bad at it, and I think the movie captures that awkwardness very well because at no
Yeah.
point do you feel like, oh yeah, they're conquisting, I guess.
Right.
It's no, they're just stuck on a raft.
I actually
Even the way the camera works in this movie, there's so many people in every shot, you feel
that
claustrophobic
was
and
what I was gonna
crowded,
say.
around all these people. And then, so this is not, so the end of the movie is this very big wide shot. And there are just not a lot of shots like that in the movie. And it was really great because it was for a minute, I forgot that the Amazon rainforest was really big because we spent all this time like fucking shoulder to shoulder with these conquistadors, sweaty and unbathed and disgusting as they are.
And like so out
and
of
then
place.
just for a moment, it's like, oh yeah, remember how big this world is and how small this man is, even though he thinks he's the world. And I was like, damn, okay, Herzog. And then I turned off the movie.
Because it ended.
I feel like this is like, I mean, Herzog's made a lot of movies about man's relationship to nature and like, you know, human hubris and...
I looked into the eyes of Treadwell's bears.
I mean, like, seriously, like, there's a strong resonance between this movie and Grizzly Man.
Yes.
Like a strong resonance. But, like, what I love about this, so there's a lot of sort of versions of Werner Herzog believes that, like, fundamentally humanity is insignificant and will be swallowed up by the world around us. Because what are we really but ants? But, like, this is, like, it's such a particularly interesting way to tell that story when you have these conquistadors who are so unequipped and so out of place. I mean, the scene where like, there's a member of the royal family with them who they refer to, I mean, they say Kaiser in German, which they translated in the subtitles as emperor, which wouldn't have been right either. So, but they do say Der Kaiser ist tot, which is a line of German. I was like, I know all those words in German. But like he's like there and like they're serving him like fancy fish in like a litter. Like they're carrying him around the Amazon on a like friggin' like and then he's complaining there isn't enough salt on the fish, and it's crazy. And, like, it's sort of, I love, like, it's sort of, there's a lot of the people on the expedition, particularly sort of the higher-ups, who are sort of acting like none of this is crazy, while Aguirre in the corner is going crazy. It's just going crazy off him, all the fucking, he's just going fucking nuts. And, like, Aguirre's right, guys. Like, Aguirre's right. The rest of them are wrong. It really is all madness.
There's a really good, I read the Ebert review of this movie, and there's a really good line in it that I think sort of sums up what you're saying, Sarah, where he says that Herzog's movies are like men haunted by a vision of great achievement who commit the sin of pride by daring to reach for it and are crushed by an implacable universe.
God damn it, Werner Herzog. God damn it, Roger Ebert. Yes.
Apparently he read like face down on my bed and not speak to anybody for 3 days.
He read like half a page about the actual Aguirre guy, and he was like, "All right, I'm writing this. Like, this is a fictional story about a true guy who did disappear, but."
Well, Herzog is really not interested in telling any sort of objective truth. I forget Ebert and him kind of made a phrase. Maybe I can find it in this Herzog Ebert book I have in my hand. We've done one film of his on this podcast. It was in the TV show section. The documentary Little Dieter Needs to Fly.
Very good.
Which is very good, but also in that documentary, he makes shit up.
Yeah.
He is not interested in telling. He wants to have the honest truth, not the objective truth. It's not, he has a phrase like that. So you have, like, I'm sure he read a note card about Aguirre, went, okay, I understand what that means, and has no interest in ever looking up.
Well, like, that's the thing that I find really ironic about Herzog, is for a man who writes literally almost all of his movies condemning human hubris in the face of an implacable nature, he is the most ridiculously, recklessly ambitious director I could possibly think of.
Well, I think because
literally, yes.
Like, he's just like, oh, I can do anything. Like, I mean, like.
Well, but I think that's what draws him to these kind of characters.
Right.
Because, like, Little Dieter is someone, as we talked about, is someone who escaped POW camp but still wanted to keep flying even though his plane crashed and he was in prison for a long time. These are people who are objectively wrong. There is no El Dorado, but are compelled to keep going. Timothy Treadwell, Fitzcarraldo, these are all characters like that, and in many ways that's who Herzog is, right? He's on the raft with them. Like,
for sure.
He's not filming on the shore from his trailer. He's there. He is the one getting the...
They didn't have a trailer. Are you kidding?
No, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah.
The Amazon was their trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think it's because he understands that nature will always win, death will always win, but he himself is also like, fuck you, nature, one more round, that he will always lose.
And I love how he
Death
gave
will
his own
always
like
win, but fuck you, nature.
he basically gave his own
will
rendering
always
of
live.
the Legend of El Dorado in the title card. You're just like, the Incas were fed up for having been conquered, so they just kind of made this shit up and told them, oh yeah, go search for that golden city over there.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, let's do that. That's not actually how it happened, right? Like,
I've heard that like the idea of the El Dorado was a myth to fuck over the white guy, man.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take
Speaking of white guys, I feel like we should talk about Klaus Kinski a little bit.
So I have
Because he's fucking scary.
He is so
who's
scary.
crazier, Aguirre or Klaus Kinski?
Klaus Kinski. 100%.
Absolutely Klaus Kinski.
He just looks at things. The entire movie is him just looking over there. And then
When
looking
he
over
looks
there.
through the camera,
Then at
when
one
he
point he
makes
looks
eye
at the
contact with
camera.
I shat myself.
It is so eerie when that happens.
really weird.
really unnerving.
So there's a quote here from Ebert's great movie review of this, where he says, "If the music is crucial to Aguirre the Wrath of God, so is the face of Klaus Kinski. He has haunted blue eyes and wide, thick lips that would look sensual if not pulled back the righteous of madness." Another quote here about kind of Kinski, because Kinski and Herzog made 6 films together. They are a lot. And there's a documentary, it's also on Criterion Channel, called My Best Fiend, that Herzog didn't make. It's a documentary about Herzog and Kinski and how they almost like kill each other all the time.
Yep.
And this kind of goes in here. It says, the film of Aguirre is legend in film circles. Herzog, a German director who speaks of the voodoo of location, took his actors and crew into a remote jungle district where fever was frequent and starvation seemed like a possibility. It is said Herzog pulled a gun on Kinski to force him to continue acting, although Kinski in his autobiography denies this, adding darkly, he had the only gun.
That is very disturbing.
Right? The Herzog does say, he has said, no, what actually happened was he was walking off and then I just threatened to shoot him and then myself.
That's a quote I have.
And during the filming of Fitzcarraldo, which is even more ambitious and more deadly film shoot, the local tribesmen in the jungle they were filming offered to kill Kinski because of how horrible he was acting.
Oh, yeah.
And Herzog said, no, we have more scenes to shoot.
Apparently there were many times that Herzog threatened and or even tried to kill Klaus Kinski. At one point, Klaus Kinski was literally
Herzog has a
saved
flair
by
for
his
the dramatic,
dog.
I think that he's probably...
Herzog was crawling up to Klaus Kinski's house to burn it down, and Klaus Kinski's dog attacked Herzog.
Like, what?
Like,
Like, this is like Werner Herzog. I'm like, on the one hand, I will read these stories and I'll be like, wow, what a crazy, wacky man. And on the other hand, I'm like, should he be in prison? I think maybe he should be in prison.
well, let's talk about the camera that he filmed this on. It was a 35mm that he stole from the Munich University Film School.
Every time he gets interviewed on anything, he talks about something he, like, stole or, you know, someone he injured.
He made a weekend film school thing where he like had people like buy tickets and he went to like a hotel conference room and said like, I'm not going to teach you about angles or film printing. I'll tell you what you really need to do. He taught you how to forge filming permits.
So good.
But he okay, here's the quote. It was a very simple 35mm camera, one that I used on many other films, so I did not consider it a theft. For me, it was truly a necessity. I wanted to make films and needed a camera. I had some sort of natural right to this tool. If you need air to breathe and you are locked in a room, you have to take a chisel and hammer and break down a wall. It's your absolute right.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, Herzog.
That's not how any of this works.
That's definitely how it worked for him.
I absolutely want to see a movie about the friendship, like a dramatized film where that guy from Will You Ever Forgive Me? Who's the guy that stars opposite Melissa McCarthy in that movie?
Richard E. Grant.
Yes. I want him in it as one of the characters, and I want like an Oscar-winning biopic about their friendship.
I mean,
immediately.
If you're gonna have Richard E. Grant play Kinski, you'd need Michael Shannon to play Herzog.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine with me. I think that sounds great.
But I do recommend.
I'm sorry, I think we just buried the multi-million-dollar franchise right here on the podcast.
Yeah.
all I have to do is teach those two different accents.
That's fine. They're actors. That's what they do.
But really
Not worried
recommend.
about it.
I remember I saw My Best Fiend, I think in some theater, and it was such a strange moment of like Herzog is like walking around like, this is the apartment Kinski and I shared, and like you go to the bathroom and like it's all like in shambles. He goes, one night Kinski broke the sink and destroyed it. He was like, we never fixed it.
It was his family's apartment building. He was 13 when Kinski was a struggling actor there. And then when he wrote Aguirre, he remembered Klaus Kinski and his insane antics, and he was like, well, there's only one person that can play the madman Aguirre. Like, that was immediately a first thought. Years and years and years later, he's like, oh, I know who's going to do that role. And then he sent it to him, and Klaus Kinski
Do you think that Kinski is Herzog's El Dorado? Like, Kinski is Herzog's implacable universe? Because, like, that is, like,
Maybe.
the thing, like, the key, and then it's just like, actually, he's crazy. Actually, you want to kill each other.
I think if we're gonna go with Herzog props, I think Kinski is the Bears in Grizzly Man.
I think that's correct.
He's
No,
fed wrong.
Herzog is not the person who kind of loses it and then gets eaten by the bears.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, of
That's
course he
exactly
is.
who he is.
No, he's not. If anything, he's a genius.
No,
No.
but he thinks those people are geniuses in their way, right? I mean,
Or-
that's what
fair.
I mean. Grizzly Man is like literally like Grizzly Man is so there, but for the like
Yeah.
the like that could be
Well,
me, and I
I
think
mean-
and there's an element of madness. I think that I would say if Herzog is in this, he is Aguirre. That like there's a
Oh, yeah.
there's a reflection element that is. Like, Herzog is, the reason I love his work so much is that it is, it's especially interesting, so much of his documentaries, it's all extremely personal and about his own demons and his own relationship with the universe around him. And a lot of that is that Herzog very explicitly sees himself as a man teetering on the edge of madness at all times. Like, he basically, like, he's one of the best modern articulators of sort of the abyss, like that sort of deep, like that deep, fear that there is nothing out there and that there is nothing that, that we are all ants, that we are small and insignificant. And like, you get pulled into his world and his fears. And like, this movie is, having seen a bunch of Herzog documentaries, and actually this is the first fiction movie I've seen of his.
Same. Yeah.
This is a very pure version of what he's saying in most of his documentaries.
Oh, absolutely. And
We know the movie was the filming of the movie, right?
Oh, essentially. And
They
that's-
filmed it in order. They started at the top of the river on
Cool,
rafts built by the natives that were on their set. And there was a flood that destroyed their rafts. He put it in the film because there was a flood that destroyed their rafts. And the filming, the shot of them building the raft is the shot of them building their raft. Like the actual raft. Like
right.
all of this actually happened. And then it happens to be also the set of a movie.
Well, that's like we were watching the end together, which is a perfect ending. But I think Sarah said aloud like, "Oh, did Herzog just put those monkeys on the boat?" I was thinking, no, the monkeys were just on the boat and then he filmed it.
Better.
Oh, better?
Yes, so much better. Okay, let me
There were
actually
a lot of
find it.
monkeys.
It was a lot of monkeys. Okay. Blah, 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 da, da, da. To obtain the monkeys used in the climactic sequence, Herzog paid several locals to trap 400 monkeys. He paid them half in advance and was to pay the other half upon receipt. The trappers sold the monkeys to someone in LA or Miami, and Herzog came to the airport just as they were being loaded to be shipped out of the country. He pretended to be the vet, claimed that the monkeys needed vaccination before leaving the country. The handlers gave him the monkeys. He loaded them in his Jeep and drove off.
I feel like this is
And then he set them loose in the in the jungle afterwards.
I was so scared when Klaus Kaczynski picked up a monkey at the end of the movie that he was going to bite its head off. Like, honestly, anything was possible.
He threw that monkey. I think that monkey's dead. Like,
I think that monkey is dead.
I mean, that
Monkey's
monkey is
fine.
definitely dead,
It's
but I
77.
think we saw that monkey die. There is no ASPCA disclaimer at the end of this.
Well, yeah, no shit. Okay, I was going to bring that up. Watching this film, animals are a major motif in this film.
Yeah.
What was your favorite crazy animal moment? Mine is the monkeys, which is the cliche answer. But there were so many animals.
Of course.
I gotta go with the horse on the raft because it is both a horse doing some damn good acting as a horse being terrified, and which
it was
terrified. And it's also like the horse is such a perfect. I mean, I love that whole scene, but the horse is such a perfect like. What the fuck did you bring a horse to the Amazon for, you guys? Like, how did you think that was gonna go?
Because it scares the natives. That was the whole point.
Well, yeah, but that's a crazy idea. The whole, like, all of this is unbelievably poorly planned to a degree that, like, I mean, that's the thing I like about this, right? Is like at the very beginning, they're acting like they're going on safari, like, or that they're going on like a. Like that they're kind of acting like it's a game. Like this is just going to be like they're going to do this the way that they're supposed to do it.
Well, because it was such certain idea that they're going to go to El Dorado. Like there's so many parts in the first half of the movie where they're basically like using like credit, right?
Right.
Like, okay, you're suffering now, but when we get there, I'm going to give you like 1% of all the gold we're going to find.
Right. Well,
so so do this for me, and then you get like a couple pounds of gold. Like, they're always banking on like
or
if we
you
get
could
there,
make it your own.
Yeah.
Isn't Herzog doing that with the making of this movie, though? I mean, I think it's important to talk about, like, colonization and, like, who feels like they can just go and, like, make a movie about this. I mean, like, yep, we're just gonna go here. And, I mean, I think the absolute same thing can be said about, like, a German filmmaker who feels like it's his right to just go make a movie wherever he wants. And I mean, we love Herzog, and like I love Herzog, and I really liked this movie, and I think he is not immune to that narrative. I mean, the fun part of that narrative is like, yes, this huge thing where he drags a steamship through the rainforest in a land that isn't his, in a land that, you know, making a movie that's critiquing colonialism in some ways that are interesting. I think it's really interesting that like all of these dudes who are bound together in isolation, the only thing they can think to do is continually try to control and destroy each other until there's only one person left. But also, like, I mean, I think he's also, like, not only on, like, this sort of perfect side of the argument.
I will say this in Herzog's defense, based on, like, you know, reading a lot of stuff by him and, like, listening to him in general. I think that confronted with that idea, he would be like, "Oh no, you're completely right." You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah.
Herzog is, like, he's pretty. I mean, which is not to say that it's okay. Like, I agree with you. I think there's some really messed up stuff about the way. I mean, to say there's messed up stuff about the way that Werner Herzog makes his movies is not like that is an understatement to end all understatements. But I do think like he does like it. It was nice to see a movie about colonialism that had no veneer of humanization. For the conquistadors, that was just like, oh no, these guys are assholes and they're gonna die. And like, they're gonna die in an interesting way, and I'm gonna say something about like the nature of human pride on the way there. But like, these guys are assholes who came in to this land, like, with zero respect for any of the people there or nature itself. And they're gonna get what's coming to them, and he's telling a story that is like, whether or not this exact story is true, you know, conquistadors being swallowed up by the jungle is like a thing that happened, right? I mean, like there are countless stories of colonizers, you know, finding themselves outmatched by, you know, the world that they think they already own.
So he made a diary of. While making Fitzcarraldo, which the book is incredible, and we shall read it because it's Herzog's diary while making this disaster of a filmmaking process. But the book is called Conquest of the Useless. Reflections on the making of Fitzcarraldo. The book's amazing.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah, I want to read that. Yeah, no, I think that, Sarah, I think you're right. I think he would agree. I think it's just always important to ask, like, who's allowed to break the rules? And who do we, like, lionize for breaking the rules? Who is not allowed to break the rules? And I think that there's a lot built into that. And I think you're right. I think Herzog would absolutely be like, yes, of course, JC, the systems of oppression would crush us all beneath their boot into the mud, and I'd be like, yes, Werner.
Yes, Werner.
But yeah.
I agree. No, yeah, I think you're totally right, though. I think that there's... And especially since this is not Werner Herzog's only I'm gonna be a white guy who goes into the jungle and does something crazy movie. Like, he has a bunch of those.
I mean, he has 2.
Well, Little Dieter Learns to Fly's recreations are also filmed in the jungle. I mean, my point is...
no. I mean, like, Little Dieter crashed was in a PW camp. That's a different kind of story.
Sure. I mean, I guess my point is, like...
And they didn't do any recreations with that. The only thing he did was, he did a fiction remake of the thing starring Christian Bale, which was really good. And
I don't know. I think Herzog definitely has fascinations with... I mean, he is definitely a man who strides around the world and films whatever he wants. Live it that way.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, that is who Herzog is.
Yeah, we saw his documentary about volcanoes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that good?
Yes, it's very good. It's mostly Werner Herzog staring into pits of fire and talking about the abyss. And I'm 100% here for it, and so will you be, JC.
I think it's called Into the Inferno, I think.
I believe it is called Into the Inferno, yes.
I watched that, Austin knows this, like, on, like, the last day of I was off for recovery, I watched that documentary he did about the cave paintings, where he's just like, oh my god, they're so painty and good.
His only
great.
3D film so far.
I can't.
I saw it in theaters. It was great. Because, like, you know this? So it's called Cave of Forgotten Dreams, and it's a movie.
I need to see.
Where is it? Is it in France, JC?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
caves, which are
amazing.
They uncovered this bit that, like, what are the earliest cave drawings
were. Recently they
found
older ones, yeah.
Oh, Werner's gonna have to go there.
Sequel. But
it's really cool though. Like, you can't touch or like they talk about why like these drawings are so perfectly preserved, and they talk about how like there's this really cool thing where they talk about how like the paintings are drawn to show movement, or like, and it's sort of like, oh, this is like the first film, like the way these horse legs are drawn is to illustrate that like horses move, and that part's really cool.
And he filmed it in 3D because they talk about a lot in the film, like where they're even allowed to walk,
right,
and how long they can be there. So the 3D was so you can basically kind of like go around the corner with the camera.
Yeah, no, I mean, they basically, Lascaux made that movie with him basically in part so that there was something
like a documented
that was made because they were like, so maybe people will stop trying to get in here, and B, like, there may come a time very soon where we have to completely close them, or else, like, they'll fall apart. So, like, they wanted...
Does that movie end with a fake albino crocodile?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's not real.
That's not real?
No.
Why did you put out... Okay.
Because it's not about the objective truth.
You know what else is really a really important question? Why hasn't documentary now done a Herzog episode yet? Why haven't they done Grizzly Man? And...
I mean, Grizzly Man is too sad to do.
It's a very tragic story.
Yeah, but you really think documentary now is not going to do that?
They'll do a Herzog, but they're not going to do... Grizzly Man gets...
Oh, no, I mean, I love Grizzly Man, but it's also... Yeah, Grizzly Man's a bummer.
Yeah.
Grizzly Man is a perfect documentary.
Oh, no, I mean,
I've seen it at least 10 times.
It's a perfect film.
Yeah.
But this is... I feel like this... I really do feel like this movie... Aguirre has, like, a ton of resonance with Grizzly Man.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, this is like...
absolutely.
Maybe this is like the Rosetta Stone for the rest of his career.
Right, I mean, like this is... like Herzog's kind of got one fundamental emotional damage that is at the core of all. Like, like, he's afraid of the abyss. That's his...
I don't think he's afraid.
Oh, no, he just recognizes that it's there.
Yeah.
He's drawn to it and is amazed that he's going to lose.
Yeah. Also, he might be crazy.
He's a genius.
He's amazing.
Oh, well, God, no, he totally is. This movie was very good.
Any final thoughts on Aguirre, the Wrath of God?
Do you know Clark Kinski?
I would like to say...
off of an extra... He blew the tip off of an extra's finger with a gun.
No.
In this film?
Yes.
That does not... None of this surprises me.
He was pissed off at a bunch of people playing cards really loud, so he fired a few shots into their hut, and one of the extras' finger tips got blown off.
Just for the record.
And then they kept filming, I guess.
All of this is like, haha, because it happened in the 70s. This is why we have labor standards. All of this is horrible.
It's not great.
Well, I mean, and obviously Herzog makes films now where the actors are safer.
Yes,
But also,
Herzog is less insane than he used to be.
well, no, man, that's not what I said.
Well, he did what he had to do to get the shot.
Well, I like one of my favorite films of his recent films is the absolutely batshit insane movie, Bad Lieutenant Protocol New Orleans.
I can't believe
Did you say that was a bad movie?
No, it's called Bad Lieutenant Protocol New Orleans.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
fantastic.
incredible. But during that movie, interviews afterwards, Herzog was praising Nicolas Cage, and I think it might be Nicolas Cage's best performance. And he goes, "I have no idea whether or not the man was on cocaine the whole film." and he goes, "I don't know. I did not ask him."
I mean, why would you ask?
That performance.
There's like a strange quote that I just read by him where he was like, "All men are just men to me. I cannot tell a straight man from a gay man." And you're like, Werner, why are you speaking?
He just recorded a thing at the Music Box all about how much he loves popcorn.
Makes me really happy. I need to put in a pitch for the other great El Dorado movie that exists. Which
Is it El Dorado?
The Road to El Dorado.
The Road to El Dorado. The
The
animated movie.
2000 animated DreamWorks movie where Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh voice two idiots looking for El Dorado who actually find it in what is undeniably the gayest animated film of all time. I don't know if you've seen this movie. This movie is genuinely very good.
In many ways, it's the opposite of this
It
film.
is literally the opposite.
Because two white guys find El Dorado and kind of claim it.
No, but they
I mean, they get kicked out.
You know how it is.
Yeah, no, they get kicked out. They end up with nothing.
But they all, like, love them.
Yes,
and
But they do save the town from the incoming conquistadors.
Yeah, they're
or
the
something like that.
they're the good guys. They're the
It's a riff on those Bob Hope Bing Crosby movies, Road to Blank.
Yeah. It's also though, it is. It's two guys who go in as total con men and actually do find El Dorado, as
Right.
opposed to a group of people who go in truly believing in El Dorado and don't find it.
Which is similar to a film that Herzog acts in, but did not write or direct, a strange mockumentary called Incident at Loch Ness, which is a mockumentary about how Herzog decided to film a movie about the search of the Loch Ness Monster.
That sounds good. Is that good?
It's rather good. It has a really great final act, but Pedro would like it if only because they make up the idea that before every film of Herzog's, he like has a dinner party with all of his most favorite, like interesting people to discuss the themes about what he's about to explore. And of course, at the table is Jeff Goldblum.
Yes!
Like Jeff Goldblum, Ricky Jay's there.
Is he wearing a shirt?
Is Jeff Goldblum?
Yes.
I believe so. Damn it. But like tailored.
Okay.
Yeah. JC, what do you give it?
You give it like a 4-3.
Alright, I'm gonna give it a 4.7.
Give it a 4.5.
What's wrong with you people? I won't go all the way, but 4.9.
It's pretty great.
Alright, that is Aguirre the Wrath of God. At least for right now, it's on the Criterion Channel. Highly recommend it there, because I've now seen this film 3 times, and this is, without question, the best transfer I've ever seen in the movie.
It's really pretty.
'Cause this is kind of one that has there's a lot of shitty versions out there, and this was gorgeous. And also, like, they added, 6, 7 more Herzog films, a bunch of which I haven't seen, like Hearts of Glass. You know, the film he made where he hypnotized all the actors to make them have a weirder performance.
God damn it.
Great. Also really important, just to add, I sent Austin a really good picture of my cat with Klaus Kinski on the screen. If he'd like to show it to you, it's available on his iPhone until further notice.
Good.
Just some other important
I'll
things.
tweet it from the Twitter account. But
Very important.
here's for the room.
Oh, hello! Wait, which kid? Is that Fridge? Which one is that?
It's Fridge.
Hi, Fridge.
Hi, Fridge.
I was also watching the film at the time, and I was going to send a similar photo, but our cat was hiding.
Damn it.
Do you guys think the English subtitles are what they actually said?
I have no idea.
No one will ever know.
Is the movie about objective truth, Pedro? No.
Especially about the part where he's like, I'll mate with my teenage daughter and we will have the purest bloodline.
Yeah.
I'm like, was Herzog just high at like 4 a.m.?
I mean, yes.
Well, it said also
Very possibly.
in the Great Movies Ebert thing that Herzog said about the film that he did not know the dialogue of the film till 10 minutes before shooting.
Cool.
Oh
cool,
my
cool,
God.
cool.
He lost the first few pages of the script. He wrote it in 2 days.
Sure.
Someone puked on it because they were drunk on a bus. He threw him out the window and doesn't remember like half of what he wrote.
Either the pages at the window
Yeah,
or the drunk guy?
the pages that were thrown up on.
I mean, I think it's a legitimate question. Shall we move on?
Yes.
What's another crazy ass artist who makes things the way he wants to make them?
Prince!
Indeed.
The fuck was that?
It was great and spontaneous, and I loved it. We listened to
So
Purple.
sorry.
We listened to Purple Rain by Prince.
I never meant to call you in your sorrow. I never meant to call you in your pain. I don't want to see you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain.
Purple Rain was the 6th studio album by American singer-songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentalist, the artist formerly known as Prince. It was released in 1984. It is one of the most successful albums of all time. It has 5 singles that charted on it out of its, I believe, 10 tracks. When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain, I Would Die for You, and Take Me With You. And I think there's another one that with the name in it. What's her name? That also...
Nikki.
Yeah, that one, Darling Nikki also charted. So, like, basically every song on this album is a hit, which is insane. I mean, like, this is an album that sold, like, we're talking, like, you know, Michael Jackson. It also forms the soundtrack to a movie of the same name. Although I've seen the first half of the movie and then I went to bed. Austin saw the rest. I would say that if there's an equivalent to a movie being like if a soundtrack accompanies a movie, I feel like this movie accompanies the album more than the other way around. The album is the primary piece of art. Let me put it that way. But the movie's wild. Prince is wild. It is, I think, like, interesting since his unfortunate early death, which is really, really sad. That
How old was he?
57 in
Yeah.
an overdose. We still just don't have categories for Prince in a way that, like, is interesting. It's like, I mean, his whole shtick was to press every boundary of race and gender and music and genres and all of that, and we still aren't good at, like, summing up who Prince was as an artist in a single sentence.
Well, you were saying while watching the movie, like, oh, like, without any question, Hollywood's going to make, like, a biopic of him. I kept saying no, because they can't crack him.
I think there's something to that. I mean, like, even just, like, to say that Prince is ahead of his time in terms of talking about gender is, like, no one is even, like, in 84, like, no one's head is even anywhere near where Prince's head is on this. It's just, like, in the larger cultural conversation. He's awesome. And more than anything else, as well as being, like, sort of David Bowie is always the person that I feel like in my head I group him with, not because they have anything in common musically, but because they are both revolutionary artists that we kind of still can't categorize well, and they also write bangers. Like, every song they write is awesome, and I would listen to it right now. Like, When Doves Cry is the best song ever.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
I would say my favorites on the album are When Doves Cry, followed like right after by Darling Nikki, which I actually love.
Darling Nikki is crazy.
It's a really good song.
It's a really
I love
good
that song.
It's a great part in the movie because, like, so many of these songs are him being Prince playing a character named the Kid, performing the songs on a stage because he's a musician in the movie. And this one, like, that song is so crazy because, like, with so many songs, especially within this genre, you have, like, oh, this is hinting around sexuality.
Oh, yeah, no.
First line, Nicky's a sex fiend.
Well, and that's, I mean, the other thing that Prince is is unapologetically sexual. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that, like, I can't even think of anybody post-Prince who is quite this.
There's a part in the movie when he's singing a song. I think, which song is it? I think it might be "I Would Die for You," or maybe it's "Baby I'm a Star," where he like goes up into the rafters and he's like on a giant speaker and he just starts like fucking the speaker.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's somehow, like, it is vulgar, but not gross. There's something about Prince, like, dude is, like, attractive. And I don't mean, like, I am sexually attracted to him, but he just, like, exudes a kind of deeply sexual confidence that is unlike almost any other performer I can think of.
No, I think that's a really good way to describe it, Sarah, is that it's vulgar, but it's not gross at all.
Because also,
I think that I saw Purple Rain right after he died because, like, our local theater was like, let's watch Purple Rain. And I remember walking in thinking that it would be a masterpiece.
No, it's super weird.
Oh, it's definitely not. I was like, what is this? And I haven't seen it since, but, like, I think there's some kind of problematic stuff in it. Like, I wasn't expecting this much violence against women in this
There's a lot of that.
well, yeah, there's a lot of. Because I watched it again this week, and the first time I watched it, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a masterpiece. Then we're watching this, like, maybe I missed something. No, like, the movie is Prince's A Star Is Born, but he also, like, stops caring about the Star Is Born part, and then cares more about his numbers, and then he starts focusing on other things, and then he talks to a puppet a lot of times, and then he tells the woman to purify her body in Lake Minnetonka, but that's not Lake Minnetonka, and then he leaves on a motorcycle.
It's very strange. Around that scene was where I was like, and I'm done.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this was not the movie that I thought it would be.
But, like, which is why I say the movie is more the accompanying piece of art to the album. But that's, like, the album is, I mean, this is really a perfect album. Every song is perfect. Like, there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah.
It's tight. It's 43 minutes long. It's, like, they all, like, have the same vibe to them, but each one is individually catchy and memorable.
I thought they were pretty different. Like,
Yeah.
it was a good spread of, like...
Yeah, they definitely are.
And yet they are all Purple Rain Prince songs. And, like,
That's fair.
there are 1999 Prince songs. Like, each of his albums has something about it.
Well, so, like a month or so ago, we did the song Kiss by Prince, right?
Such a good song.
Yes.
And,
Which is on 1999, I think.
I think so.
I think that's right.
And Pedro, you led that segment, and you kind of said, like, I don't really get Prince, and this didn't help me get Prince. You heard this album.
Yes.
How do you feel about Prince now? Anything changed?
Better. No, I like it. I get it more. I definitely had fun listening to the album. I only listened to it once, and while I was working, so I didn't give it my fullest and full of attention. But, like, at no point was I like, wait, what am I listening to? Like, everything was, like, good and fun to listen to. I loved the first song. That one stuck out because obviously it's the first song.
Yeah,
And then When Doves Cry was one that, like, made me, like, stop and be like, wait, which one am I listening to?
When Doves Cry is an amazing song.
Yeah, no, definitely
How can you
a lot of
leave
fun.
me standing alone in a world that's so cold?
Yeah.
That's all.
I feel like I would have a lot. I wouldn't say I don't get Prince, but definitely my relationship to Prince's music is a little irrational. Like, I feel like I get Prince, but I couldn't explain. I think he's his appeal is difficult to explain.
There's an episode last season of Blackish when the family realized that the two youngest kids hadn't heard Prince, and every member of the family tries to pitch them on the Prince they like.
That's
So you have
good.
the dad, the mom, the grandparents, and like the older siblings, all kind of pitching their Prince
That's awesome.
to the kids. It was a really fun episode. It was also good for me, like a lot of great episodes of Blackish, of like, I don't know this. This is
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah. Enjoy that episode quite a bit. But yeah, Purple, it's fucking great.
I mean, it's one of the greatest albums of all time. Like,
It's super good.
It was like I started the album going like, I think I'm gonna like Sign of the Times more, and then like, no, this is the best.
yeah.
What say you, Sarah?
4.9.
4.8?
4.8.
4.5? 4.5.
Cool.
Nice. Alright, that is Purple Rain by Prince. Now it's time for the song segment.
Woo! We listened to Let My Love Open the Door by Pete Townsend.
When people keep repeating
So, Let My Love Open the Door is a song by Pete Townsend, as I said. Came out in 1980 as a single from his album Empty Glass.
There's just lightning outside. Sorry.
Ooh, spooky.
Pedro just looked behind him, even though we're in a different
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe,
you know, JC lives in Boston. Right?
maybe we've got some lightning here, too.
Nope.
Who knows? World's biggest lightning bolt.
Christ.
If you don't know, Pete Townsend was the lead man, not the front man, but like the leader of The Who. And this was something he did sort of off to the side, while still being very active with The Who and touring with them and all that sort of stuff. He just kind of did this one day on a whim. He was like trying to record a few songs or like come up with some songs, and he realized that like all the chords were the same that he'd been using for all the songs. So then he just sort of put them together and on like a digital organ or something, and then started singing, and this is what came out.
I kind of love it when like rock stars make like a really just like happy song.
This is 2 minutes and 44 seconds long. Like it's very much just he calls it a ditty. He's a little confused by its success, despite like all of its like crazy wild success. He's like, I mean, it was just kind of a ditty I made.
It's just really.
I would
like,
say that's a good way to
happy and
describe
hopeful,
it.
right?
How I
Yes.
sort of classify it
Like,
in my head.
It's annoyingly catchy. Honestly,
Mhm.
like it could be a television jingle. Like it's catchy in that
It's
way.
in a lot of media.
which is why it's throwing me off because like I definitely heard this a bunch.
Oh yeah, but not this.
Well, like, I was
version.
trying to go, what? Like there was like a like late '90s like family film that like had
well,
this play. Do you have
Look
a full
Who's
list?
Talking,
Might be Look Who's Talking. That's '80s.
Grosse
but
Point
yeah.
Blank, Mr. Deeds, Jersey Girl, Along Came Polly, Click, Dan in Real Life, Doctors, Old Dogs, How Do You Know, Take Me Home Tonight, Red Dog, Hit and Run.
Okay, it's like an actual like plot point in Dan in Real Life. I think like Steve Carell sings it.
Oh yeah, I liked that movie.
I thought it
There
was
good
pretty
music
good.
in that
Oh,
was
it's
good.
that movie. I
Yeah.
forgot about it.
It's
Okay.
Steve
cute.
Carell. Like that's what he's trying to be like.
And that French woman, right?
Yeah, Juliette Binoche.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like his began like, I know I'm in the office, but also I'm real sad, y'all. And like he started making his I'm real sad, y'all movies. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
JC is just sending photos of Young Herzog.
Got it.
This is very important. And I
This
was like,
is
Young
very
Herzog with a
important.
parrot. Please, it's an intersection of my interests.
Oh, apparently that was
this is
supposed to be one of
iconic.
the endings to
Yeah, you can get it.
Aguirre. So you know.
What?
Absolutely.
The original ending was going to be like the raft making it to the open ocean, but then since the ocean, like the Amazon has this weird thing where there's a back and forth with the oceans for a lot of it. The ocean actually flows into the Amazon, so the raft is going out and then it gets sucked back in, going out, gets sucked back in, and there's a parrot on the ship just saying Aguirre or Wrath of, like what is it? There's a parrot saying El Dorado, El Dorado, El Dorado the whole time. Yeah, very fun song. It charted decently in the UK. But then when it came over here, it like took off, made top 10. I think it was number 8 or 9. All around great song.
I feel like I've seen it in a different movie. Like it might have been like Look Who's Talking. Like I feel like distinctly I remember like it's not going to be a very good '90s like family film, but either something like Jungle to Jungle, Zeus and Roxanne, like me watching films like Seven. I remember like someone like dancing around a campfire to this. Maybe some Jungle to
or
Jungle.
maybe you're crazy.
I mean, madness is the theme of this
It is
episode.
the theme of this episode.
You know, the song is not a romantic song.
It's true, which
Yes.
makes me like it. That's like a
interesting.
automatic.
It's just like a
Apparently
hopeful
he's-
like life like.
So
Yeah.
he's a follower of this religious guru,
Okay.
Meher Baba,
Guru, the Wrath of God.
who yes, a guru of the wrath of God.
I knew it.
And who at some point was like, if you're talking to God and you want them to give you happiness, you have to come in with a glass empty. So you can't have other things in your heart. So Glass Empty, name of the album.
Okay.
And then he sort of imagines it, Townsend imagines it as like Jesus talking like, let my love open the door type thing to you. But yeah, it's more of a spiritual
They had
song.
a couple like interesting like they did a song like I think later in their career called like Man in a Purple Dress kind of thing. It's actually like a pretty good like Jesus song.
Let my love open the door to your Jesus.
What do you give it, Pedro?
I'll give it a solid 4.2.
I was also giving it 4.2.
4.
4.
All right, that is "Let My Love Open the Door" by Pete Townsend.
Have we given anything less than a 4 this episode?
No, it's a good episode.
It's a
And we're
very
gonna-
Yeah, it is. It's
4
quality.
episode.
Continue the trend with the TV show Jonathan Creek. Jonathan Creek
Is that what my name stands for today?
Yes,
It is.
absolutely.
JC? I don't. Somehow JC is playing a game this podcast,
Oh, yeah.
and they just keep adding points for themselves, and they're winning according to their
Yeah.
laughter.
Yeah, they're definitely
My
winning.
partner calls that my curse laugh.
Oh no.
Oh, what's Jonathan Creek, Austin? I desperately want to know.
Jonathan Creek is a British mystery show, but get this, it's good.
What?
I know, because it's funny and doesn't take itself super seriously.
Didn't we just have a British mystery show?
Yeah. Remember what it's called? I'll give you
What-
$5 right now if you know what it's called.
Shit. The main character, titular character dies like 4 seasons in or something.
I know the answer.
Okay, now it's back to Jonathan Creek,
Okay.
because you couldn't think of the word Taggart. Taggart, the show that I keep forgetting exists, and I watched a bunch of it. Anyway, Jonathan Creek, great show. So it's a show starring Alan Davies, who you know as the butt of every joke on QI. He's essentially the co-host of QI, that show we covered. It is about Jonathan Creek is kind of this mild-mannered, socially awkward guy, and he's the guy who designs magic tricks for like the David Copperfield like character. So he's the one who actually like designs, like he's like the teller to the other guy's pen. Like he actually like designs all the tricks of how to do it and whatnot for these big shows. And he stumbles upon this investigative crime reporter who's desperate for any sort of hit, and they kind of team up to solve these mysteries. But the mysteries, unlike, something like Taggart or Law and Order or anything like that, these are mysteries more akin to like Arthur Conan Doyle, where they are just like utterly ridiculous, crazy locker room mysteries that would be better served if someone who's like designs things where women are sawed in half and whatnot. So you get these crazy, awesome things like a man is locked in his room and he gets stabbed in the back and the door is locked the whole time and no one got in or out. How did this happen? And the show, which ran for about 30 episodes and it still like may come back every once in a while to do some of their special or so, is funny. Because the two of them are really funny together and the mysteries are so absurd. It's rare for a mystery nowadays to actually like make you want to know who did it rather than just kind of enjoy the process, I feel. Like, the conceit of these things, like, I watched one today where you had this person in a get-up murder someone and is trying to get away, and the people who are in the house shot the tires of the murderer's getaway car, so they kind of got him and, like, locked him in the garage, wait for the police to come, but when they open the garage door, there's no one there. And you go, well, fuck, I want to know how that happened. The show takes a very, like, magic approach to it, where Jonathan keeps, like, trying to warn people, like, when you know the answer, it's more banal than you think it is. And you see him show you how to do a lot of, like, famous magic tricks that are, like, that I've, like, seen performed and didn't know how they do them. There's, like, one scene where he was, like, designing a trick for the magician, and he was designing a trick where, like, you had a woman jumping on a trampoline, and then there's, like, a flash, and then she's gone from the trampoline. And she's going, so what do you think is going to happen? He goes like, well, I worked out this part here, and she's going to not just be a normal audience member, she's going to be a Olympic acrobat. And she goes, well, that's a cheat. He goes, it's all a cheat. And that's kind of the piece of the show. Like, you're looking for the clever, ridiculous way. It's not at all plausible in the right way, but it's a joy to watch. And the two of them, I know she leads up to season 3, but I haven't got that far yet. I've watched a season and a half of it. They have just such great chemistry because they almost do a mockery of the will they, won't they. And what makes it even more fun is that they the characters act like actual friends, that you keep seeing them hang out between cases. Well, it has that kind of like Sherlock Watson aspect to it, where she is kind of like publishing the stories of their cases, and he's the guy who, has crazy observation skills. It doesn't feel like another Sherlock Watson thing, because he doesn't take pride in gloating the way that like every Sherlock does. Because he's a very kind of mild-mannered, socially awkward guy, but also he has a job that's devoted to wanting you to not know the answer and enjoy the illusion. So he doesn't brag in the same way that House or Sherlock brags. And it's funny. It's legitimately really funny. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely finish the show because it's not very long and a delight. And they keep having, because there's only 15 British actors, 2 doctors have been in it so far.
Yep.
Fun.
Sixth Doctor Colin Baker is the first victim in episode 1. And I watched one with Peter Davison, 5th Doctor, earlier today, where he plays kind of a noble bishop-like person. Priest. I don't know. Religious titles.
Yep.
Thank you, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty good, honestly. Where is it available?
I've been meaning to watch it.
It is, right now the only way to really stream it is on BritBox, which is
Okay.
But there are a bunch of DVDs around. Really, I watched 8 or 9 episodes, and the first one's an hour and a half, the rest of them are an hour long. But it kind of reminded me of, when you watch, BBC's Sherlock in a way that, it feels like a movie. It just doesn't do the simple, okay, cold open of the crime, now you're a detective getting the case, and you walk in here, and they're going to do this. It is telling a story, and it's a delight. The only downside is, in the first episode, which is really good, the boisterous magician he works for, the David Copperfield was played by Anthony Stewart Head. And he was great in it, but unfortunately he had to stop being on the show because he was in something called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So he couldn't do the show. Yeah, I believe that's what it's called.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I haven't seen that either, so great.
But yeah, Jonathan Creek.
Henges.
I give this 4.3 henges. Very excited to watch the rest.
Honestly, I'm just always so happy when Austin gets to wash something that isn't just cow manure.
Yeah.
I just feel grateful for those moments.
Yeah. Can we extend it to next week? We'll find out, because next week we're doing the 546 entries in all these lists.
Really didn't move that far, did we?
No. So what are we doing next week?
We're watching Fat City.
A movie I haven't seen before.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
The album is, this is good, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
Born in the USA.
Matt.
The song is Vienna by Ultravox.
I don't know that one.
Me neither.
And the TV show is something that I'm still debating whether or not I can watch it at work. South Park.
Oh my god, is that really South Park?
It is South Park.
Okay.
I don't think I can watch it at work.
Probably not.
I don't know. I think some stuff in South Park is probably pretty tame compared to other things by now, but
That's true.
I don't know.
Some episode. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
That's a very tough call.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still watch too much of it.
Put an episode or two and just see how you feel.
Okay.
Maybe.
Thanks, buddy. All right, so that'll be our show next week. Until then, you can leave us a review wherever you listen to our show. Really appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at The Immortals Pod. You'll see a photo of JC's cat.
Yay.
Watching Aguirre.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Press that subscribe button.
That too. Don't know how you found it on Twitter, but thank you.
Amazing.
Check out theartofmore.com for more episodes of The Immortals. Also, check out Let's Take 5. The podcast is over, but we did a Herzog 5, where our first episode was Aguirre. And that is a movie that my co-host Eric had not seen before, and is now in his top 10 films of all time. He was so blown away by this movie. So check that out in our other Herzog episodes. Ad Absurdum, last episode is all about Captain America trilogy with Mike Godwin. Super cool episode. Listen to that. And yeah, that's it for us. We'll be back next week with the stuff we already said.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm the wrath of God.
I thought you were Jonathan Creek.
Yeah, I thought you were Jonathan Creek.
They can be.
Fuck, I'm Jonathan Creek, wrath of God.
And I'm Pedro.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
You're welcome.